Checking.
Checking. Testing.
We go live before I hit live. Let's see. There's a little delay, so yay! We did it. So it's officially streaming live. All right, so hang tight. We're going to switch over to the live show. Sorry, we're a few minutes late here, but hang on one second, everybody. Alrighty, thank you so much for joining our live stream. Sorry so much for that little technical difficulty, just still getting familiar with all the ins and outs of how this live stream works, so appreciate your patience there, but really excited about today's show. Just a quick reminder that we are brought to you by Robert Half Talent Solutions. Robert Half provides you with highly skilled IT professionals that help keep your business running. So visit the web link right above me here, top of the screen. You'll be able to find great candidates for open roles, or if you're the candidate, go find yourself an open role. So Robert Half is not only a talent repository, but they also share really interesting information. So if you're looking to retain the talent you already have or to stand out in the onboarding process, lots of cool, interesting tidbits that can help you out. So please go check out Robert Half. Thank you to Robert Half for sponsoring us, and let's get kicked off with today's show. So super excited for today's guest. Danny, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. We are very excited. You want to say hi to everybody? Yes,
Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here.
Cool. I'm gonna read a quick little bio about you so that people know who you are and
Sure.
what brings you here, and then we'll dig into it. So this is an interesting one, guys, because Danny is a relative newcomer to the IT industry, and he spent more than a decade working for a church organization, building teams to support live production events for youth and young adults from around the world. And when that journey came to an end, it was time for a reinvention. So he leaned on his love of people and knack for technology and computing and found himself at Unisys. So for the past 5 years, he's walked down the path of service desk operations as a level 1 analyst and is currently a team manager at Unisys, based in Augusta, Georgia. So, Danny, again, thanks so much for joining the show.
Thanks again for having me.
Yeah, so
Glad to be here.
Yeah, your journey, I don't think is that insane, right? There are a lot of people who have to reinvent themselves at different points in life's journey. So, tell us a little bit about what your decision process was to get into IT. When did you sort of have your aha moment that IT was the path you were going to take when you left the previous organization?
Well, I think when I left the previous organization, I kind of thought that I wanted to do it. But it wasn't until, I started going to a local technical college probably 2 years after I left that organization, taking their basic 2-year computer science classes. And that opened up a lot of aha moments for me when it came to actually working in IT.
Yeah, no, and it's so interesting. You were talking about how in school, you sort of practically understood the information that they were teaching you, but it was when you got into the role that all those dots started to connect. So tell us a little bit about what you learned in the schooling piece, and then sort of when you realized kind of how it all fit together.
Yeah. A lot of information is given to you in school, and you're learning all these terms about IT processes and technology processes and, network terminology. And I remember thinking to myself, all this stuff is going to be pre-configured by some guy before I ever get there, And largely that's not untrue. However, when you start answering calls and fixing corporate IT problems for people, all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's what Active Directory is this, and VPN. Oh, okay. It really connected a lot of dots. Those are some sort of surfacey things, but network topology and VLANs and all of that.
It's all those words, right? I'm kind of the same way. As a newcomer to IT, I'm learning a lot. So I spend a lot of time. I always laugh with our CEO Ben. I'm always like, I gotta Google a bunch of stuff in the middle of meetings. Is that normal? And he's like, oh yeah, totally. So did you have to spend a lot of time when you were first like let loose into the wild? Were you sort of overwhelmed with what was coming in? Did you have to do some Googling? What was your process there?
Yes, and yes. I had to do a lot of Googling, that's for sure. But my role in the previous organization, I had a component of IT. So I came into this with a pretty solid foundation of computing concepts and IT in general. So some things were fairly easy, but I did a lot of Googling.
Google is everybody's best friend, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, IT has brought so many surprises to me, right? Like I always knew sort of IT was there. Like, yeah, they've always existed in every organization I've been in. But until now, like I really didn't understand what they did, right? Like it same as like when you were just like trying to sort of connect those dots of like, all right, you were learning all this information, but like, what is it that you do here? So what were kind of like your biggest surprises, both, positive, negative, about when you first really got into the role and learned what it is you were actually doing?
Well, for me, by and large, it was all positive.
That's great.
You
can be honest here. This is an honest group of people.
Right. But it really was. Coming into the role, there was an odd concept because I was coming to work for a telephone service center.
Right.
So there's this sort of aura about, working in a call center. And that was kind of my mentality on the very first day.
Okay.
But then I quickly realized, oh, no. Each team is a part of a corporation's IT department. And so I kind of quickly slid into the mindset of, I'm part of an IT department, And
I think that's the cool shift that's happening in IT right now. People taking like ownership over, this is what we talk a lot about, in the experience space is, you're part of employee experience. You're making these employees successful, right? So once you kind of got over the fact this is a new role, you're learning the ins and outs of the company, were there anything that you sort of went, oh, aha, I could make, I figured out this really cool way to help the employees work more efficiently, or a new project that I could take on? Anything that sort of like surprised you in that way?
Nothing that really surprised me per se, but always trying to build the team and have everybody working in the same rhythm.
Yeah.
Because when that's happening, the client is happy and the company is happy. For me, I always try to look for creative ways to motivate my team.
Yeah.
So, for example, I wrote a song for my team about social engineering because we were doing so well and it was such a big driving concept for the company, And so, I could give them a PowerPoint deck, I could send them an email, or I could, I wrote them a song. So
can you give us a little taste? Can you give us a little taste of the song?
That I look for to just be different and give a strong energy to motivate.
I love that. That's such a cool idea. And I think creativity, we had a guest on a few weeks ago focused on creativity in the workspace and really how important that is to, overall just not only like making people happy, but just, keeping yourself motivated. So I think that's a really cool way to, not only motivate yourself, but to keep, your team happy and keep them motivated. I'm sure that's something they will always remember.
Well, you got to find those little slivers of fun when you think about your career in terms of decades.
Yeah.
You really have to look for every slice of, sort of fun motivation that you can get.
Totally. I totally hear you. And I have a full appreciation for that. If you're not having fun at work, what's the point?
Right.
What are we doing here? So, in terms of having fun at work, there are people who come to you frustrated, if they're coming to, especially sort of level one, they've just got something that's annoying, that's keeping them from, again, being successful at their job. So what are ways that you have found that help encourage your customer. We like to call the employees customers, that help encourage your customers, that keep them, light, that let them know you're working on it. Like, what's been your process?
Well, you have to be the cheerleader for the person. For whatever that situation is, you just have to be the cheerleader because they're already focused on the negative or what's wrong in the moment, right? Or the improvement or whatever that is. So you just have to, point out what is good and then build from that. Yep. Look, you're doing great here, or this is awesome. These numbers need improvement here, but you're already doing great over here. So you just really have to be a cheerleader for them.
Yeah, that's so true. And I think that goes a long way. And it obviously goes a long way because we can do a little plug here for the HDI Awards. We have an HDI Award winner on the phone with us, which is always so exciting. So tell us, about the HDI Awards. Oh, there we go.
Look what I have here.
Look at that.
This is the local chapter award. I'm still waiting on the other award, but no, seriously, it was a lot of fun.
So tell us, what it was like getting to experience the HDI Awards for the first time, being honored. That must have just felt so good, especially being, more of a newcomer to the space.
Absolutely. When you're nominated, the mental impact of that is like, oh, somebody nominated me. So, that, makes, it was humbling, felt great, that leadership recognizes, the effort that you feel like you're putting into it, of course. So that was great. And then I guess going into it, I didn't know what to expect. And so thinking, somebody nominated me for an award, and then there's an award. But there was this whole journey in between of interviews and just a whole series of things that made the experience a lot bigger and better than I really, than I anticipated in the beginning.
Yeah.
I got to meet so many people from all over that were just amazing people.
And that's the coolest part, right? I think that's what I love most about the IT space is everybody here wants to help teach and, loves to share knowledge. And, I've been to one conference now and hoping to get a few more under my belt, but the people that I've met have just been so outstanding and reached out and been so kind with their time. And, I think that's what some of the coolest part about being in the IT space is that it's a bunch of people who love to learn and love to mentor and teach.
Yep. And then I learned a lot about the industry, bigger picture along the way as well. And that was a whole nother layer that I thought I would do, but it was great to go through that experience and just learn a lot more about the industry.
Yeah, no, it's so true.
Along the way.
And it's cool because I think the IT industry is ever changing, right? It's a nice sort of evergreen space where, as the sort of the world of the employee workforce changes, IT's got to roll along with it. So, when we harp on this a lot, but when COVID happened, guess who owned that experience of getting everybody set up and figured out, not only running employees, but running the business and having to figure it out for themselves? IT. So definitely have to have an appreciation for that. So
Absolutely.
We'll have a couple minutes left here. I think what would be really helpful for our audience, if there's someone out there who is thinking about making the change, about shifting careers, and IT's sort of been something they've had an interest in, they like tinkering, what would be your advice for someone looking to make that leap?
Well, lean on those things that you can bring to the table. I guess my theme of today is like be a cheerleader, but that really is just sort of who I am. But bring the things to the table that you can bring from whatever your previous experience is, and just know that you can apply it, because the IT space is filled with hard technology, and then a mix of technology and soft skills, and then a lot of soft skills even in the IT space, and so there's a broad spectrum of things that you can bring, no matter really what your experience is. Generally, of course, having a good IT fundamental understanding of computing is important, right? But there is a lot of things that I didn't realize that I could bring to the table but after experiencing it now, I see a lot of the things that I could bring to the table.
Yeah.
So that would be my biggest thing. And if it's technology stuff that you don't know, the internet is full of tons of free resources. I had to learn Outlook when I joined Unisys. I didn't know much about Outlook,
I still don't know how to use Outlook.
And, there's a lot of great resources out there for sure.
Yeah, that is awesome. That is so great. And with our last minute here, I've got Danny's LinkedIn up on the screen. So if you are out there and you're looking to make that change, it's below you. If you are looking to make that change and you just want to chat with someone who's been through it, or you're just looking to knowledge share, reach out to Danny. You can always reach out to me as well. Happy to always chat, or any of the HDI folks. You've got an amazing team of people at HDI who are always willing. Like I said, IT is such a cool space because everybody's willing to share their time and knowledge. So, Danny, this was an awesome, quick 15 minutes. So glad you joined us today. So really excited. To my HDI family on the other side, thank you so much for all your help in making this show happen, and being my awesome tech support when my microphone doesn't work. And otherwise, you will see me again next week.
Shout out to my Unisys people.
Oh, and the
I don't
Unisys
know who's
people.
here, but
hopefully you're out
thanks,
there.
you guys.
Yeah, it's awesome that you're there. And we will see you all. I think you get me next week. So we'll see you next week, same time, same place. Thanks so much for everything. Have a good one.